Yo, what's up, everyone? Back with another podcast. Coach David here.
Professor Muhammad, what up, everybody?
So you had a really busy weekend, didn't you, Coach?
I did.
You want to tell us a little bit about it for those who don't know?
Yeah, we had a busy weekend. We were in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, okay, Orlando, like where Disney World is.
Yeah, life is busy for me. Are you talking about that or something else?
No. I'm talking about Orlando. Yeah, okay. I'm talking about Orlando. Kiss me. So tell us, act as if no one knows anything about what's going on. Because in the academy, even in the jiu-jitsu realm, like everyone kind of knows what you were in Orlando for. But why don't you explain what you guys went down there for, what you were doing, what happened, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume a lot of people know what went down this weekend.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So this weekend was the biggest kids tournament in the land. It was a tournament that attracted about 1,500 kids, 1,000 to 1,500 kids, literally from all over the world. And this is this is what kids train for all year round. Like you play in a sport to make the playoffs, and you advance. And this is where all the kids want to get to. If you want to prove you're absolutely the best of the best, this is where kids go. So you got bragging rights if you go to Kids Pans. That's the name of the tournament. And you so we had a 3-day competition. Team lead, us was there, some of our affiliates. Cool. And yeah, it was a very, very big tournament.
So how'd your team do?
So we did amazing. We did, it was amazing. I got to say, like, this is not our first time there.
Sure.
But our first time there, we didn't do well. And, coaches, kids, parents, everybody was committed. They stayed the course. Everybody believed in the system. And we went back and we got some medals.
So we had, I lost track. We got a couple silvers, right? Kids got a couple silvers. I saw bronze, and then
we have a first place also.
Amina, his daughter Amina, actually got first place in her division. So which is a big deal, regardless, right? Yeah. But what I didn't realize, because I was there, I came in. We were having the watch party here at the academy, and I came in and they had it on the screen, right? And they just nonchalantly, like, because we're in a group chat, so normally like Nancy's like Amina won, or Mia won, or whoever, like they blow it up, and they're just like, oh yeah, Amina took first. I was like, took first in her bracket. I had like missed it because I was walking in, and she actually made history this weekend.
She did, yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more, because I don't want to get the facts wrong, a little bit more about the importance of the history she made in your Arabic community?
So up until 2014, the IBJJF had a uniform or dress code, right? So anybody wearing a scarf, girls wearing a scarf to cover their hair, like you see, here or anywhere, it was not allowed. So it was fought for, and they removed the ban. So
they pretty much had to, Muslim competitors had to choose between following their religious beliefs or their competitive goals.
Correct.
They couldn't, there was no accommodation for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know how all of that went down, but obviously for a girl wearing a scarf, it's an easy decision to say, I'm not going to take off my scarf.
Sure.
If I can't compete with it on, it's a no-go, because
Right.
They play volleyball, basketball, baseball. They play literally all sports with it, And I can see they obviously didn't know, weren't educated on it, surprisingly, because you have like the Abu Dhabi is like it's a hub for jiu-jitsu.
That is strange. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like in the Middle East, they have they have so much
That's
money.
That's in the UAE, right?
Yeah, they have so much money that they're pumping into it.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, there's astronomical amount of money, and they're growing the sport over there like like crazy. They got the money to put behind it. I'm surprised that IBJJF said there's no
interesting
scarves allowed. But anyway, they lifted the ban in 2014, and since then, Coach Nancy is a very, very she knows how to do her research.
Sure.
And she had me doing some of it for her. So we were Googling and looking up every single competitor since 2014 and looking at the girls and then, looking them up and seeing who won. And nobody's won it with a hijab since 2014. Maybe before, I don't know. I don't think so.
They couldn't have won it.
Yeah, they couldn't.
They couldn't have.
Right.
They couldn't have won it. So. And there, for those who don't train jiu-jitsu, I mean, it's wrestling. I mean, it's grappling. So they're trying to, there's a lot of head control that goes into play with this.
Yeah. And it's a big disadvantage to have something on here, because if you ever watch any of the girls compete, as soon as it goes off, they have to adjust and their hands go from defending themselves to up here.
Yeah.
And, that split second that they lose, they're at a big major disadvantage. So even though it wasn't brought back in, there's an adjustment of your clothing that you have to do when it gets off center, out of whack.
Yeah.
So anyway, she competed, and she competed last year, and she made it to the finals, and she lost in the finals.
Mm.
Yeah. So this year, her and all of her teammates were training up to 3 times per day.
Wow.
Yes, up to 3 times per day, sometimes 10 to 12 times a week. And so, the accomplishment there is she took home gold, and she definitely made history, and she was in the zone. But you know what? The entire team, the camp, this is a legitimate camp. They put a camp together to get these athletes ready. It wasn't let me go practice 2 days a week and then go try out this tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's an intramural sport. That's something you do if you feel like going. These kids were training multiple times per day, multiple times per week. And the entire team did a camp that was honestly, they talked about nutrition. They did strength and conditioning. They did, obviously, jiu-jitsu. They did so many things involved. And so the accomplishment is not just for Amina. For me as a head coach, it's also for the coaches.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So our coaches, they worked off of their own time. They did so much extra that nobody is paying them for. They paid their way to get out there. And, everybody had all the skin in the game.
Mm.
And it was a big, everybody went all in. And, we came home with a gold medal. We got one last year. And we also got some silvers, some bronze medals. And
Jackson took it last year, right?
Jackson took it last year.
Jackson took it last year. Yeah.
That's
a big deal, man. That's really cool. And I think, we were talking about this last week. I think it's really cool. We mentioned this in the adults and the kids. You've got people they enroll for different reasons, right? You have I'll use the adult term, right? You have the hobbyists, right? Guys who are I started as a hobbyist very much. I was I just want kind of a couple days a week, work it in there, maybe 2, maybe 3 days a week. And then you have those who are really competitive with it. And they're hey, I actually want to see how far I can take this. So there's different roadmaps, and one's not wrong, right?
Right.
So
and
it just depends what you're looking to get out.
Yeah, and our system, the system that we have at Metro Jiu-Jitsu, we have different levels. So it's like walking into a gym where everybody is one level. It's not like that, and in a gym, you kind of work on your own, but with our class structures and the systems that we have a beginner level. If you want to complement, some other sport that you're doing, if you want to just fill a little bit of time, we have a place for you. If you want to train a little bit more and really get into shape, we have a place for you. If you're a female or a mom or a dad that, you want to do an activity alongside with your child, there's a place for you. Yeah. And if you want to step it up and say, you know what, I have a goal and I want to pursue something in jiu-jitsu, like any other organized sport, we got a system and we got a place for you. And obviously we showed that it produces results.
That's sweet. So I want to get in. We have other news that
I
I'll
hope
get
they
to.
can hear me. I lost my voice screaming.
You all came back
like
raspy
screaming.
voices. Sounded like you're chain smokers. Yeah, like you all came back. It's got that raspy from screaming for 3 days. I want to cover. We've got more news. I'll cover review at the end. I want to get into our topic today, though. And so the first question. I mean, the theme that we're talking about is the economic and environmental change that we've seen in the past few years, right? So the past few years since 2020, I don't think it's an overstatement to say that the world has changed. Like, I don't think, a lot of people, they claim they're like, this will change everything. And then nothing actually changes, right? Or at least not very much. Things have changed drastically. Entire industries have been turned up. I mean, the movie industry, man. I would not want to be in that one right now. The dining, restaurants, and then of course fitness too. Like fitness, health and wellness. It's changed pretty drastically. And so, what are some of the social? We opened up in December of 2018, but we opened up in 2018. We had like a full year and a half of coaching kids and adults before lockdown and quarantine and regulations and all that. And I remember distinctly, I'm sure you do too, what the kids and adults looked like before then, coaching them during it. And then now, like that, we can officially say we're out of it, right? Where COVID's over, we're out of lockdown or whatever. What were the differences you saw before and after? What are some of the differences you saw in the kids, in the adults, and then and challenges that they were facing? How jiu-jitsu has helped them then after as well?
So, something that comes to mind is like during COVID, when we first opened, we had some momentum and the community really responded well to what we were doing. And
before you say before or
when we first opened,
yeah,
and then not long after that, what was it, like a year and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I think our grand opening was like December of 18. And then, I mean, you and I taught 3 kids, 2 brown at the time brown belts on the mat with 3 or 4 children.
Yeah.
And then, so to really get any real inertia going, it was like, I feel like it was like 4 months in, it might have been April of 19 before we had really even any moderate classes to speak of.
Yeah. One of the differences that I see today of where the community is at is there are so many people that have gone through here, and COVID was a really good time to say, well, I don't have anything to do. Let me try this, and leading up to COVID and during COVID and after COVID, it really it separated the men from the boys, like they say, and it separated the parents who are in it and committed to the long haul about building their children and giving them something that's going to last. And what I see today is the kids that are standing out, the leaders in the school, the leaders in the community, the ones who are doing really, really well, the kids that you look at and say, whoa, there's something about that kid. What is that kid doing? What is he into?
Yeah.
What does his mom and dad take him? Those ones have made up their mind whether it was going to be then or now. They were getting their kids in something and they were committed. Obviously, we made their job easy.
Yeah.
Metro made their job easy because we have a system, we know what we're doing, and we expect results from everybody, from the parents down to the kids. So I think, you can't dabble in jiu-jitsu. You can't be like, oh, I want to try it. Like, you have to have a need or a want for something to make a change.
You won't stay.
No.
Yeah, you won't stay because it's humbling, man. I mean, it can be demoralizing. I can't tell you how many guys started after me and got promoted before me.
Yeah.
And then quit. So they would they'd get started after me, and maybe they'd rank up, they get stripes first or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe got a blue belt or a purple belt before me.
Yeah.
But then they quit. At some point they would quit.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it was the tortoise and the hare comparison. I was like, listen, I've got a job, I'm working construction, my daughter's in the NICU. You're like fill in the blank of any life change. I was like, well, I still got to train jiu-jitsu, even if it's, even if we have to get up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever to get the job done. Like that's, a little bit accumulates to a lot, I think that's a good point. I think it's really,
you know what? I have to say that parents of kids, just like adults, they go through. My son or daughter is not good. My son or daughter is maybe not athletic, or my son or daughter is learning slow. My son or daughter needs a little bit more. And the parents of the kids who are medalists, outside of the medalists and the ones who've gotten first place and all the local tournaments that we're killing, are like those parents have gone through. My son or daughter lost. They went and they lost. They got beat. They feel like they're not getting better. The parents go through a growing phase of what it takes to be good and successful and see the results of jiu-jitsu, just like you and I and the kids.
Yeah.
So I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, I had it on that note. Like I spoke to a parent yesterday. Honestly, I think you see one of the most, and it's going to tie into the differences I see. You'll see the greatest change in we'll call it 3 to 7 year olds.
Yeah.
3 to 7 year olds. And especially our pandas class, which Coach Mia runs, she does a great job with it. She has temperament for it. Like some of those 3-year-olds, like it's a chore just to keep them on the mat. And that class is only 30 minutes, because their attention span, like that's a chore. But then you see 6 months in or 7 months in, the kid that was running off the mat. I spoke to mom yesterday. I was like, "Hey, do you see him right now?" She's like, "I know. He's staying on it. Like he's staying. He's not like the most. He's not like the like he's still kind of a little distracted,
He's
right?
A kid.
He's a 3-year-old testosterone filled boy. Like our goal, the worst thing you can do is try to calm down a boy. Like that testosterone is a good thing, right? So channel it, sure. So she's like, yeah, it's not stressful anymore. I used to come in because they come in and they get like this mom shame or dad shame, like, oh, my kid's the best. You're freaking 4. Your 5-year-old. Like your 5-year-old, you're trying to get them, and this will tie in. Drastic difference in 2019. I mean, you're dealing with some of these kids now. Some kids just went back to school this year, in person.
Yeah.
So that's 3 years of doing God knows what, God knows where. Like they're on a screen in front of a virtual learning or Zoom classes or what, like and this was predicted. The social impact was predicted, and I think in a lot of realms discounted. Like, the social impact is at least they're going to stay healthy. And I'm not going to get in. I'm not the doctor. I'm not going to speak on the virus or my stance on it. But I'm just speaking as the professional who has to now deal with the kids and deal with the adults. And I can tell you can tell them firsthand, like, shit it's not looking good, right? And so I don't know what the kid, you see these kids, the 5-year-olds we're dealing with versus 2018, 2019, they're not 5. Yeah. They're like 3 and a half. Well, yeah, or on a good day, or the 7-year-olds, they're more like they're a couple years behind, and then they get that's the largest change with the kids, right? The kids that we've seen, just the attention span for sure. And with the adults,
honestly, adults have social shock also, because you take an adult and usually they're at work. That's their social setting. If they have a social one, maybe it's family or the weekends or something, but people are so busy. Adults also get shocked walking in here and realize that you have to learn to communicate.
Yeah.
A big part of jiu-jitsu as an adult is you have to learn to talk to people and have a dialogue. It's not like it's not like, okay, do A, B, and C. Like you have to think. You know, you learn to communicate in jiu-jitsu because we practice it with a team. So adults, I noticed that are like shocked at how much they're like, step out of their shell and open up because they never really expected this is what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
But they all love it because they're actually working with like-minded people and other people who are focused on getting results.
Well, I think a lot of the rest of the world, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of the rest of the world is designed to limit or reduce human interaction. And that's a common. I mean, you can effectively order something off of, you can order $5,000 worth of product off of Amazon and not see or speak to a human.
Yeah.
And you can order every meal all week and not see or speak to a human.
Yeah,
it's possible. You can order and so it's reducing this, and again, you can get into the labor costs and this and automations and.
They serve its purpose, but you're right. You can actually completely alienate yourself from humankind.
Mankind. And it's not good. Humans are social creatures. Like it's not. You look at for a minute there, I was watching that show Alone, and those guys crack. They crack.
Talking about somebody about that.
Yeah, and it's like they just break. And one dude had he would have survived as long as he needed to. I mean, he had a legit fortress and a whole system to catch food and stuff. And he was just like, "Yeah, I think I'm done." He's like, "I think I want to go home." It wasn't like he was because sometimes they'll pull you out medically, dude, you're just too thin. We got to pull you out. That wasn't him, right? So he's just like, I'm done. So they're social creatures, and then everywhere else they go, you've even got Zoom meetings. And again, I understand the reason behind them. But now you come in, now it's not only are we going to ask you to be face-to-face, we're going to ask you to be very close in contact, and you have to now provide feedback to your teammate, right? So hey, how's that pressure? Is that good? What would you do from here? So you're kind of providing that feedback. And a lot of times, especially the fundamentals, they're working through it. If there's, let's say, 10 groups as coaches are walking around to it, you have to work with your partner while you wait for the coach to get to you, if it's a minute or two or whatever. So it's effort. It's effort, and you have to be prepared to put forth the effort. If you're coming in and seeing hey, what can this thing do for me? I think that's a really large dynamic. It certainly existed in 2019, but even on the jiu-jitsu chat boards, it's this customer vendor transaction. That's not what jiu-jitsu is about. Jiu-jitsu is not about I hate this. They're like, I'm a paying customer. No, you're a student of ours. You're effectively an apprentice of ours. And so if we choose to keep you, then you're going to follow our rules and our policies, right? Like that. And people, they think that the customer's got the power. And certainly you need members, you need people to stay, right? You need people to stay in business, but we don't treat it transactionally. I mean, imagine if just class ends at 8:30. All right, you guys, so I'll give you 60 seconds to clear the mat and get your stuff and go home. It's not transactional.
Yeah.
We don't approach it like that. And that's some of the biggest changes I've seen. This is I'm going to assume this is from Terry. I actually blocked this out of my memory, Terry. She said, one important aspect is the Zoom Jiu-Jitsu option you offered. I quite literally forgot about that. I blocked that out of my memory. That was so. I mean, again, it kept them engaged. Right? Kept them connected to the team. But Zoom Jiu-Jitsu,
I mean, and you know what?
The 6-week fitness. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
All of us were like, should we even do that? Jiu-jitsu on Zoom?
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But you know what? We were committed, and and we that was one of the ways that we found to keep a connection with our students, and it served its purpose at the time.
Pretty sure I had mats in my garage, and I pulled Amanda in for some of the technique at times.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was, oh my gosh. I forgot about that, Terry. Justin says, coaches came through huge. Cannot thank them enough for their time and effort they put into these kids. Thanks, Justin.
Justin.
His son, Phoenix. So what can so now, someone who's been thinking about this, right? I think we're if you've been waiting for it to be safe to train jiu-jitsu, I think everyone, the vast majority, would assume it's safe, it's clear. What can someone expect for their first jiu-jitsu class? Like what can they expect when they walk in the doors? We'll cover kids or adults. And adults.
A good workout. Yeah, you can expect a good workout, but don't expect that, you know what, I'm going to be so freaking sore. I'm going to get beat up. I'm going to get injured. No. Like, we have a system in here that walks you through introduction and a good view of what jiu-jitsu is. Like, what I tell the people coming in is, like, you can watch jiu-jitsu, you can know somebody who does jiu-jitsu, and you could think it's really cool, but it's like holding a snake. It looks really, really cool. Like, wow, can I hold it? But you never understand what jiu-jitsu is, like a snake, until you actually hold one. It's like, oh my gosh, wow.
When I see a snake, I think a lot of things cool is not one of them. I'm not.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't want to touch the snake.
I'm not big on them also. Like, okay, petting a dolphin.
All right, there you go.
It's cool, but when you actually do it, it's like, oh wow, I didn't know it was like this. So you have to do it to get a good feel for it.
Yeah. So swimming's a good example. That's one I use a lot. Like, you can watch videos on swimming, you can know a swimmer, but at some point you got to get in the water. So it's not. Yeah, and then you're like, oh, this is quite a bit different than the videos I watched.
Right.
For the adults, you can expect. You can expect. Yeah. The old way, how you and I came up was, we'd sign a waiver, of course, and then they would throw you into class, and then you would get bodied by 3 or 4 high ranks. And it was like, and the selling point was like, and it's funny, like, you're a white belt, I'm a white belt. Now neither of us wrestled, and they feed you to, like, the purple and brown and black belts, like, just to make sure, because we don't want any chance you have any type of success against one of our white or blue belts. So we're gonna feed you to someone who's been training 6, 7, 8 years, and then they're just gonna they're gonna ragdoll you, and then the line is, see, jiu-jitsu works.
Yeah,
like that's it. You have to be kind of mentally brain damaged to sign up after that, or traumatized, or one, right? Like, so that's not what it's gonna get into. It's gonna be it goes. We do a warm up technique, and then in the fundamentals class, we actually, like, at the technique, you drill it. We end. Holmes is laughing. You were there. We end at 8:00. We're one of the few academies, we don't require matches till you get your first stripe. So you can say, how do you get your first stripe? You demonstrate the technique, that you know what's going on. You can do that. Like, that reduces the risk of injury, because if someone gets injured their first month, you just lost a teammate, you just lost a training partner. So that's I think that barrier of entry. A lot of people, they hear jiu-jitsu, they think UFC. They hear jiu-jitsu, they see hoists. They hear jiu-jitsu, they see, they see just the bloody mats in the octagon, and it's not what we do. It's not what we do here. So, what are some of the great success stories? So just in the past, again, as we're looking towards our second location in the Canton area, which we'll get to later. We get to do this over again, and we get to learn from our mistakes and kind of make some things a little bit more efficient. What are some great success stories, kids or adults, that we've had?
My answer is, honestly, it's the same for both of them. If you take an average American working American, Arab, like any race or nationality, and we have them all here. Like, we're so diverse. We have white, we have black, we have Arabic, we have Muslim, we have non-Muslim. In every one of those categories, we have people who have been here pretty much since the first year that we opened.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest win is having a diverse group of people with one kid, people with multiple kids, somebody who's single, somebody who's married, and somebody who's married that their spouses and children don't train, somebody who has children, and everybody trains. The biggest success, I think, is that showing for them to stand the test of time. shows that the system that we have is working for them.
Mm.
And, like I said, all demographics, young, old, single, married, small family, big family, they've been around for years, and it shows that what we're doing, we get results. So I think that alone for me, we spent 6 months building this place on our hands and knees. We got dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're gonna do it again too.
Yeah. So
a lot older. I feel a lot older now though. Like literally,
I
feel a lot. I'm like looking towards the construction. Towards the construction of Canton, I'm like,
okay. Just comment in the section. Is 31 old?
It's not the year. Well, thank you so much for thinking I'm 31. It's not the years, it's the mileage, though. So, but I digress. You're spot on. So we build at hands and knees. I interrupted. Go ahead.
You put good gas in your car.
Yeah.
Take vitamins.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a couple of our just a few success stories right off the rip. I'm remembering Benny. Benny's an example. His dad brought him in. He was, I think, 4 at the time. And signed him up, paid for the year up front, just paid him full. And then mom came in the very next class or day or whatever. She's never been in the building. And Benny won't stay on the mat. And so I'm just thinking of what that conversation must have looked like, right? Like dad came home, said, yep, I paid in full. And she's like, okay, so here's the schedule when you need to bring him. And then I could tell mom, Christy was like, what the heck? Why won't she had the embarrassed mom thing. And so I checked in with her. I was like, hey, you Benny's mom? She's like, I was like, hey, do you want to just talk real quick? I said, listen, this is really natural. It's not your fault. It's nothing you need to do. I said, just let's give him 30 days. 30 days. If he's not fully ready, okay, and sometimes this takes 6 months. He's not fully ready. Okay, we'll try again in a few months. Cool. And she's like, all right, cool. And then he went on to, I think he just completed his second year. So he just completed his second year. And then they're actually going to be getting their little man Sonny on in the fall. So they're going to be coming.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching this and you're new, I have no problem giving you a 30, 60, or 90-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah.
If you use the product, you're going to get the results, and it's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one I'm thinking of is honestly, I think a personal one. I'm thinking of Big John, right? So I still have in my phone the text message. Again, I remember because a lot of these guys, I'm texting them to get them in for their first class while I'm working on doors, in between my lunch break or whatever. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? It's Coach Dave. And you hear Metabos and Cirque Saws in the background. And so he was like, I can't. He's like, the money, man, it's just really tight right now. And so he went on to, I'm not going to share his numbers, but so I finally got him in. We got him in. And then I think he reported however you look at it, either a 100% increase. So he doubled his salary, or a 200% increase in 3 years. And he credits a lot of that to jiu-jitsu, the consistency of it. And then, so that's a financial increase. Thinking of Big Chad, who's down 60 pounds. He's injured, right? So he kind of just came back to the mat, but he's he's been following us he might be on this podcast now. He watches, it's the network of it, right? If you surround yourself with people who are committed to improving, even just it's negative connotation, I think. If I just magically let's just boom, overnight, I put on 35 pounds. You think I'm going to come into the academy and someone's not going to say anything? Yeah. They're absolutely going to say so. They're absolutely going to say something. They're going to be like, dude, what happened? Are you is everything okay? They're going to call you out. Everywhere else in the polite world, they don't say anything. They don't want to offend you. And here we're going to be like, dude, are you trying to bulk up? It's not a healthy 35 pounds, So those are just a few really off the top of my head that the community keeps you committed to your goals, right? But you have to. I think that's it. You need to buy into the community. It's one of our core values.
And somebody could tell you that you're a winner a million times, but if you don't feel it, you're not going to feel like you're a winner.
Sure.
And, the value that jiu-jitsu gives athletes and kids and parents, it makes them feel like that. Like you feel like you're a boss. You feel like you're getting shit done. You know, when you train jujitsu,
it's a good feeling. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and our system mentally stimulates you, and you can feel something. So I don't need to tell you you're getting stronger, you're getting faster, you're getting healthier. You can actually feel it, so you don't need somebody to pat you on the back and say, "Oh, don't worry about what you look like. You know, you're fit or you're healthy." Like jujitsu is actually going to let you realize that, see it, and feel it completely on your own.
Yeah. And it just takes a little bit longer, right? Like, so I think that's the the social impact too is delay or instant gratification. If I want something to do Prime, I can order something on Prime and probably have it here by 11 p.m. Like that is service, right? Yeah. So then when you say something like, "Hey, yeah, you don't really expect your first colored belt, your blue belt as an adult till 14 to 18 months." You tell someone that, they're like, that's a third of a way to a bachelor's degree, and like, that's only my first belt, there's stripes along the way or whatever, but that's just, that's that delayed gratification that goes back to what you're saying. You need a really good reason to train. Like, you need a good reason for why you're training. And that's why we've had people come in. You're talking about our system, our process. We have people come in and they're like, "Yeah, I just want to have him try out something for the summer." Yeah, you can have your kid do the summer program, I guess, but like in the summer, what are you actually expecting to get out of it in 3 months? Honestly, like if you're everywhere else, like you're scheduled out to the gills, we're just not going to be the good fit. Some people take them on. I personally, like, with the goals that we have on the wall of of a certain number of high ranks and competitors, and like it's just not. We're not going to be the academy for you if you only want to, if you only going to commit for 3 months. Like, we're committing to you for longer than that. So we need you to commit to yourself for longer than that. And one of our goals, we have many goals up there, is to help you get to that level. Yeah.
That's specifically our goal. And we do that by, a proven process that we have.
These people they're on your side. Alexis Picanot says 31 is a whippersnapper. Tell that to my knees, Alexis. Terry says 31 is not old. Okay, well, I am 33. I'll be 34 this year, but I agree with the sentiment. I agree with the sentiment. So the last thing I want to cover is
hold on. But before, we're going to end after this last topic. But any questions you guys have, any topics, just throw them up there. We'll go through them, see if we can answer your questions.
Yeah, it could be about anything. Yeah, it could be about. Can't post some destinations. 34 is still not out. All right. So, in addition to the news about the kids' pans, we have some really exciting news that we put out, I think, last week, or I don't know when we did. We're on our list of goals is ultimately 3 locations, right? 3 locations in a 5-year gig. The second one is coming to the Canton Plymouth area.
Yep.
And so that's really exciting. One, because remember, like, we built this. How did we even lay this place out? Like, when we laid it out, it's fun. As I found the old CAD design for this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like the old software I was using.
Yeah.
And they didn't have jiu-jitsu guys, so they just had taekwondo guys. So I kind of put them on. I had to like put wrestling mats in. So I had to like type in, hey, they don't have jiu-jitsu mats, so I had to find wrestling mats. But on the wrestling mats is like a taekwondo guy doing like a high kick. Like just for the for the 3D walkthrough, right? And then they
taekwondo stuff.
Yeah, so how did we lay this out, right? Like, did we hire an architect, or was it just kind of you and I? Like, I feel like it was you and I with a dry erase board or something.
It was, and we kind of knew what we wanted. We kind of closed our eyes and says, okay, what do we want in an academy? What would we want if we were walking in? Yeah. And then we said, okay, my sons and my daughters are walking in. Your kids are walking in. Yeah. My wife is walking in. Okay. What do we want if our families are coming in? If I'm a competitive athlete, what do I want and what do I need? So we built it based on you.
and I think we have a lot of members on here. Like my being partnered with you is good for me, because the David 5 years ago is I just want to like do something right, be done with it, and then we're not touching it. We're not gonna. I can't tell you how many times we've built something or done something in the academy, and then 6 months later we're demoing it and redoing it, and I would have had an aneurysm. Like that would I'm just like, what if we had just waited, but like it's one of those
is he complimenting me? Or
it's
insulting me?
It's a compliment, right? It's a compliment because I think it's you pivot.
Yeah.
And if 2020 taught us nothing else, it was try something.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, you pivot.
And you know
what? That's jujitsu.
Yeah, jujitsu.
I try scissor sweep, it doesn't work, you arm drag. That's it. You pivot.
Yeah, jujitsu is about progress, not perfection, and that's what life should be. Life should be about progress, not perfection, because perfection is. I don't believe it. Perfection is like.
It is an illusion. Yeah. I agree with that. I think you know what? Terry's got a good question. I think perfection, those who are like, oh, I want to wait to do something to make it perfect. It's procrastination in disguise. Yeah. And that's it's not my phrase. Someone coined it. I mean, it's tough to find anyone to the original post or not, but like that's the truth, right? Terry says with multiple locations. So Terry, her son Jackson is the gold medalist from last year, Kids Pants. So, and the head of the Kids Comp Team board. Multiple locations. What is the vision for the Kids Comp Team? Multiple kids teams, or will they get together at any time? So help us elaborate on this. I want to make sure I understand the question correctly. Are you saying, are we going to have like Kids Comp Team Canton, Kids Comp Team Southgate, and they never meet? Or are we going to get together as schools and cross train that way? If I'm understanding that question, I believe that's a question. If you could just elaborate on that.
I can answer on what I know is our competition team is growing, and we want to continue to grow it. We want to nurture it. And that is the goal. And I'm sure that, just depending on the commute, that that this entire team will definitely see each other. I mean, look, we have an annual barbecue coming up next month,
August 6th.
Yeah, so we have hundreds.
Open to the public, by the way.
Yeah, so we have hundreds of members that are actually going to see each other, and it's no difference. Our community is just growing. The competition team is going to grow, and there's power in numbers, and we're going to build on what we've done here and put some depth behind what we've already done.
Yeah, so I can answer that not only because when in doubt, like you can kind of predict. I think a lot of Metro's vision and what we're going to do based on our core values. That's how we make decisions. Growth, enjoyment, community outcome, hard work. And so it would go against the core value of community to have, I guess, sub communities, right? Like segregate. Like, oh, you Canton guys, you guys stay over there, right? You guys just go over there. You can't train at Southgate, right? And then because this is the beauty, there's going to be reciprocity. You're going to have a home school, right? But there's going to be reciprocity. So we have so many trade workers. I'm going to get to the kids in a second, but I want to explain the why behind what we do it. So you have so many trade workers. They're like guys who work downriver, but they're like, dude, I was on this job in Plymouth or Livonia or whatever. Fucking go train at Canton then. And it's cool because like they're going to welcome you over there, especially if it's higher, it's a newer school. It's going to be a white belt school to begin with. Like a largely white belts, like they're going to love to see some blues or purples or browns over there. Do you remember when you cross-trained at it, even within the affiliation coming up? Did that go great for you guys?
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu was like very territorial,
heavily frowned upon, to say the least. So heavily frowned. I think you got like a stern talking to after it. But so the kids comp teams, they're gonna have the way I see it, and we're gonna tighten this up working with Coach Jabril. They're absolutely gonna cross train together, right? So every single week, like the logistics of that have yet to be seen and determined what gets the best results. But I don't think because to me there would be a disconnect, right? Like if you have a Metro, we'll just say Metro Canton and then a Metro Southgate, and then they only see each other at Kids Pans, or they only see each other at Grappling Industries, or they only see each other at AGF. Like that's not community. That's not that you're not promoting community that way. But if you're like when you get together and you're like, oh yeah, you're from Canton, it's good to see you again. It's kind of like a family reunion, right? Like you may not see your cousin. Well, you probably do. You may not see your cousins as often as you see your brothers and sisters, but it's still good to see them when you guys get together. So that is that's kind of how I see that, and again tying into that core value of community. I think that's going to be really important. And I will say, Terry, I just preliminarily speaking with Coach Jabril and Mohammed, like we're going to actually pull from and rely on our Southgate comp kids and adults to not mentor is not the word, but to help motivate the kids over in Canton. Be like, hey guys, rather than everyone being a white belt, be like, hey, here's some of our yellow belts, blue belts, purple belts, and use that to train over there and say, hey, here's what we can do, and kind of like as a roadmap of what they could become and things
yeah,
of that nature.
for the Canton community, we are graceful. We will be graceful, but we're going to get results. We are going to get results. That team is going to grow. We have lots of interest from the Canton community, and we welcome it. So you'll have a separate large family in Canton, and they're going to start like young and small, as far as experience wise, but it's going to grow, and we're going to get results.
So I think that's what we got. I want to make sure I got everyone here. So
let's see if there's any questions here.
Chris Holmes. Yeah. So he's in, Chris, you're actually one of you and Louis, like I believe we're one of my first training partners, when I started training. Yeah. And you both beat me up. So
my man, Chris Holmes. Chris Holmes' school is in
Livonia, Elite Jiu-Jitsu.
Elite Jiu-Jitsu in Livonia. Yes, I mean that's our neighbor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But if you're closer to Elite Jiu-Jitsu, give Professor Chris Holmes a call. The guy's amazing.
And then we got our Livonia summer program. I don't know who it is. I'm going to guess maybe Coach Sarah, Coach Dustin. But from our Livonia summer program, they're probably on the bus on their way to Cosmic roller skating today. Yeah. So
nice.
That's exciting from them. So that's all we got for it. And then David Sanchez on Jeremy Brewer, Big Jeremy, one of our founding members here in Southgate. So that's it. That's it for today's podcast. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to message us. We are doing pre-enrollments now for the Canton Plymouth location. So if you want the bet, you can ask any one of our founding members. You want the best deal on that? Go ahead, go to our website, metrojj.com, click the Canton location. One of our coaches reach out. And then what's cool is you start training in Southgate immediately. You don't have to wait for construction to get done. You don't have to wait for the grand opening later this year.
If you know anybody in Canton, tag them on this post or send them a link. We got a special gift that we're giving to anybody from Canton that comes through soon.
Awesome. All right, you guys. So as always, we'll see you on the mats.
Is there a chat